In less than a month, we have added over $110 billion to the deficit, crossing over for the first time $34.1 trillion, all because of deficit spending. And why are they doing this? Because they can, and because essentially we've enabled them. We elect the politicians that spend our money and create inflation. But folks, this is a scam that has been going on for quite a number of years, and we're going to talk about it in this video as we explore. Hoodwinked is the word that comes to mind when we think about deficit spending and debt. The national debt, they like us to think that the debt doesn't matter. But in reality, it matters greatly. It's just that we're not seeing any ramifications from it yet. But I'm going to explain exactly how this works with the secret message that the debt clock people have sent us now as we take a look at all of these numbers here. The ones in red are the bad numbers and increasing debt. The ones in green are the positive numbers coming in to the Treasury, but nonetheless, all of this money here that's coming in, the revenue that's created, well, those dollars are worth a whole lot less than they were just a year ago, and about almost 99% less than what they were worth when this whole system was created in 1913, the Federal Reserve System. So now let's take a look at the secret message that has been sent to us today, and it is quite a doozy for sure. In fact, it's so big, we're going to have to zoom out a bit to see it all, just like we had to do before. And we're going to analyze this very closely. But as you can see, the general overall message here is enveloped in a background that is kind of crackled, as you can see here. And that shows that the whole system there's got some cracks in it, because sooner or later something's got to give somewhere, and it very well could come apart. You know, liken it essentially to a glass house or a house of cards, as it were. Yes, indeed, very fragile system, but who knows? It's lasted for this long. Could it continue? Well, it will until it doesn't, that's for sure. And so now let's take a look and zoom in here, because we can see where this has gone and where it is now. Over 100 years ago, 104 years ago, the national debt was $15 million. And that's a lot of money, especially a lot of money back then. In 2008, it was $20 billion. And now it's $34 trillion. Insane to think about it. And you can see the three men here all operating their own type of schemes, that's for sure, and all revolved around essentially what was created back in 1920 with Charles Ponzi. Let's take a closer look here. We're going to start out at the top. The top here is what we can attain for and hope for. We can see the new Earth here, or the new world, of which we could be a foundation, which we talked about in a previous debt clock secret video. This is what's coming, and there's a bright light around it, an aura of light, that this is the hope that we have one day, perhaps, of having a sound financial and monetary system. But we'll get into that. We've actually looked at this and talked about everything and every element on this before. But let's go down and see about what's going on in this imagery here. As we can see, Charles Ponzi, who was featured in a previous debt clock message. The Charles Ponzi created essentially the scheme that we know of today, and that's a scheme that worked until it didn't. Essentially, what that means is you take your investors' money and you squander it, and then you take others' investors' money to pay the people back who put the first allotment in, and it keeps revolving, sort of like a pyramid. And that's essentially what is happening with our with our monetary system these days. Fractional reserve banking, that whole system under the Federal Reserve System is exactly that. Why has it lasted this long? Well, there's several points in history since 1913 where essentially it's been saved from destruction. The biggest area was in 1973, and a lot of people don't talk about this, but Henry Kissinger, who just recently passed away at the age of 100, essentially saved the dollar because he made it such a case that after World War II, the Bretton Woods system, which we partially abandoned the gold standard, we essentially created another fraction of it because the dollar was backed by gold and every other nation traded in dollars, which were in turn backed by gold. But in 1973, there was no gold standard anymore because Nixon closed that window in 1971, in August of that year. So Henry Kissinger set up what is known as the petrodollar. That is the system to which we are under today. It is very fragile, especially with de-dollarization and at a point in time where we were essentially pretty much independent. And we were not dependent. We were creating our own energy here in the United States, which is actually a very good thing. Of course, that strengthened the dollar as well, too. We didn't have as much inflation back then either. But nonetheless, the petrodollar system is under threat. And now here we are. We have exacerbated the national debt to the point now where it's $34 trillion and climbing dramatically here in 2024. Bernie Madoff is a known famous scam artist who operated under the premise of what Charles Ponzi essentially created, although I'm sure there were scams and schemes going on for a long time. But you notice that all of these scams and the schemes of those scams have been going on since the Federal Reserve empowered a lot of people. Hey, well, if they can do it, well, we can do it too. Many have done it. And there's other many smaller figures that have done the same type of thing. In fact, when you think of pyramid schemes, you probably are thinking of multi-level marketing. And even though technically they aren't doing pyramid schemes, it's pretty much the same premise. Stay as far away from multi-level marketing as possible. It's a bad deal. It operates under a lot of the same type of principles. Especially stay away from precious metal companies who operate under that guidebook. And nonetheless, those have pretty much died off, but there are still some around. So then we have Chairman Powell. So Bernie Madoff went to prison, eventually died, and then we have Chairman Powell. Now, Chairman Powell is just the latest representation of it, of this type of system. And you can see that he's standing on a pillar of fiat currency, dollars, these cotton fiber linen notes that make up that. Charles Ponzi is standing upon something else here. We're going to see if we can zoom in close to see exactly what he's standing upon here. It looks to be some sort of document or material or rug or something with some sort of figure on it, but I can't place what that is. Nonetheless, he's standing on something, a foundation that certainly doesn't appear to be solid, whatever it is. And we can see, as we see these points where the national debt has gone up, and marked with this white dot and a red line, and there's a gold line back, sort of a drop shadow of that line going up there. I think that's just more for emphasis. I don't think that holds any particular meaning by any stretch. But if we look here, we can see the Federal Reserve building in the background and these gentlemen standing here. And then we see here at the very bottom, we're going to take a look at this closer because we have a new symbol that we're looking at here, which is quite intriguing. We're very familiar with the gold standard here, the USA Department of the Treasury, 1776, with the reverse of the latest American Liberty Series gold coin. Love that perched eagle there, but it represents the strength of gold and the foundation of the country under a debt-free currency, which is seen in the middle here. We have John F. Kennedy here. We can see USA Treasury certificate. This one here is 100. We've seen that in different denominations, 10 with X's and C for C note, like 100. And then we see here the John F. Kennedy 1964 half dollar, the only year that they created the John F. Kennedy half dollar in silver. We can see there, so that's quite intriguing, seeing that maybe it would be a bimetallic standard, gold and silver. Then here we have, for the first time, this new symbol here. And I'm not sure exactly what this symbol means, but we're going to zoom in on it and see if we can make sense of it. because this is quite intriguing. I almost thought this was the Litecoin symbol, but it appears to be some sort of swirly type of background there, almost like it's some sort of a wood, and there's knots in the wood. And I'm not sure if that is some sort of a trade currency or a token or cryptocurrency of some sort. I just can't make out what that symbol means. And maybe if you know, you can put it in the comment section down below. I find it intriguing, and it's almost like they want this to be a part of it, or maybe slightly behind it. You'll notice that these other things, gold and silver, are in front of the note here, whereas this is behind the note. And I'm not sure what to make of that. It is quite intriguing indeed. The symbol is interesting. Never seen it before. I don't know what it could mean, but maybe you do. This is where part of my viewers really can kind of shed some light on this, and you guys have been great at helping me interpret these things. So there's the latest message. I do post these videos when these are published. Usually they're published the day after. And there you have it. Let me know what your thoughts are. And if you've missed some of my other videos, I hope you will take the time to check those out as well. And if you enjoy the content that I provide here, I hope you will consider subscribing to the channel and pressing that thumbs up button down below, as it's a lot of work putting these videos together, and I appreciate those who take the time to engage with commenting and pressing that like button and subscribing to the channel. So I want to extend a multitude of gratitude to each and every one of you for taking the time to watch this video, and to encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.